Ever since my son was born a few weeks ago, I started thinking about things like traditions and how important they can be, especially for a kid whose parents decided to leave their home country. But more on that later. Since I was a boy, I was fascinated by the idea of family heirlooms, of an item being passed down through generations. I was reading about the sword Anduril in Lord of the Rings and what it meant to the royal family and Gondor when Aragorn finally reclaimed it. It used to be quite normal to have at least some form of an heirloom in a family. It could be like a watch, jewelry, a knife, or even furniture. But in our modern society and due to the ever-fast consumerism, things like that are basically extinct. I mean, nobody's passing down an iPhone from 2020 or $20 IKEA table. No dig at IKEA, but you know what I mean. But anyway, as far as I'm aware, there exists no such thing in our family, so I thought it would be fun to start something like this. Which got me to thinking as to which item would be worthy to give to my firstborn son. As I was preparing for his arrival, I was looking through some childhood things of mine when I came across the perfect item. I didn't film it, but it looked a little bit like this. This is a knife from the city of Solingen in Germany. And here's why it's the perfect item to give to my son someday. You see, Solingen is famous for a few things. Having Germany's highest railway bridge, for example, standing at 107 meters or 351 feet tall. The Münchner Bridge is an engineering marvel that spans over the Wupper Valley, which is quite beautiful in its own regard. Solingen also spawned a few culturally significant people like Pina Bausch, who revolutionized modern dance, or the painter Albert Bierstadt, who admittedly lived in America but was born in Solingen. But Solingen is most famous for its blade. It's even officially called Klingenstadt, the city of blades. Craftsmen from Solingen have been perfecting their blade making skill since more than 800 years, since at least the 13th century. Even today, Solingen's reputation for producing high-quality blades, cutlery, razors, etc. is recognized worldwide. In fact, I'm fairly certain that quite a few of you people watching will have at least one knife in your drawer that shows the maker's mark, made in Solingen. A mark so sought after that there were rumors about a village in Asia renaming itself Solingen just so it could legally sell cutlery that said made in Solingen. But here's why this knife makes the perfect heirloom for our situation. Because Solingen is also the city my wife and I were born and lived most of our lives in. And in fact, I made this knife when my school visited one of the many manufacturers in Solingen. I say made, but really I just put the already made parts together, but still. So to recap, this knife was made by me in the city we used to live in before we moved to Sweden, and even shows the name of our old hometown. If that isn't the perfect knife for a father to give his son one day, I don't know what is. But here's the problem. As you can see, it's not in the best condition. Teenage me didn't care much as it seems, so I have to somehow restore it. I've never done something like this, but here we go. After what felt like 2.5 weeks of sanding, cleaning and polishing, I got the knife to an acceptable state, for me at least. It still has some deep-sitting patina that I wasn't able to remove, but hey, a knife is a tool after all, and a tool can have its marks, its imperfections. Or maybe that's just what I tell myself to come to terms with my own imperfections. Either way, a few drops of oil and a quick sharpening and the knife is ready to be used again. Now I just have to wait a few years for my son to be old enough to inherit it and let him see me use it in the meantime. Is it a bit silly and over the top to think about stuff like this and restore a knife for my 2-month-old son and make a whole video about it that takes hours upon hours to make? Sure it is, but what is life without a bit of silliness? It would be as dull as this knife was in the beginning of the video. And with that I leave you. Thank you for watching, please like and subscribe, and if you can, give your life a little bit of silliness.